As the custodian of the country's gateway, we continuously seek to provide a seamless and joyful experience for you. The Butterfly Effect, a set of facilities and services specially catered to guests with hidden disabilities. The Butterfly Effect aims to ensure our hidden disability guests have a seamless and pleasant journey at our airport. We have designated areas for our hidden disability guests, and you will be specially assisted by our trained airport staff. The process is fairly easy and hassle-free. Should you need to use the Butterfly Effect, you can pre-register through Malaysia Airport's official website 3 days prior to your flight. The registration will allow the airport community to prepare for your upcoming travel, ensuring a seamless journey. Upon arrival at the airport, do look out for the Butterfly Effect logo. It is located between doors 2 and 3 at departure level KLIA 1 and at door 2, departure level KLIA 2. You may then proceed to the Customer Information Counter at level 5, Departure Hall KLIA 1 and level 3, Departure Hall KLIA 2. For verification purposes, please present an OKU card or a letter issued by a doctor stating the hidden disability condition. You will be given a butterfly kit containing a lanyard, brochure and leaflet on locations of the calm room and sensory walls. It is best to have the lanyard on at all times for proper assistance from our airport staff. Our friendly airport care ambassadors will happily guide and escort you from the check-in counter all the way to the boarding gate. As a Butterfly Effect guest, you may utilize the calm room located at level 5 KLIA 1 before proceeding to the boarding gate. Our calm room is designed specifically to help individuals with hidden disabilities to regulate their emotions and calm their anxieties in the busy and loud airport environment. The interactive touch panels of our sensory walls help hidden disability guests to engage through their touch and sight, encouraging interactive explorations. Our Butterfly Effect guests will have special access at all checkpoints within the terminal. If your flight is at the satellite building, you may take the train or ride the bus and enjoy the scenery. At the boarding gate, you will go through the final round of security checks. Our aviation security personnel will give more time and flexibility to accommodate to your needs. As caring hosts, the aim of the Butterfly Effect initiative is to provide an inclusive and seamless airport experience for all our guests.
Good afternoon and welcome to another session of My Airports Butterfly Talk, a webinar via Facebook Live and hosted by Malaysia Airports. So during this session, we'll be sharing with you on an often overlooked disability, hidden disability. For today's topic, understanding attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, we will look at what ADHD is along with the symptoms. Okay, so today is actually very special because this is actually our first time talking about ADHD. So to help us navigate today's topic, we have Dr. Siti Sarah Aisyah Suhaidi as our panelist. So thank you for being with us, Dr. Sarah. How are you? You're on mute.
Okay, I'm fine. Thank you, Rashidi, for your invitation to give the lecture in this afternoon.
Thank you so much for being with us. Okay, so just a quick introduction. Dr. Sarah is actually a medical lecturer and pediatrician at University Science Islam Malaysia. She has over 10 years of experience in pediatric field and she became the pediatrician since 2019, and apart from that, she's also the lecturer at the University Islam Malaysia as well. So her passion and dedication to her field, as well as her aspiration to be a future developmental pediatrician, are driven by her needs to understand special needs children, such as her own son, Imran, who is diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. That's right, yeah, Dr.
Yes.
Sarah? Okay.
Yes.
So before that, I would like to actually ask, how do you juggle actually your time being between being a lecturer and also a doctor, a pediatrician, and also a mother? Because I believe even I myself, it's quite hard for me to actually like juggle time between a lot of things lah. So how do you actually manage your time?
Until now, I still juggling time. Become a lecturer, become a clinician as pediatrician, and also as a mother. It could be considered as multitasker lah for me.
Okay.
But I try to balance in for 3 parts in my life lah so far.
Yeah, so I understand being someone who is considered as a frontliner as well, and who has contributed a lot to the country. You have done very very well for especially for the kids and also for Malaysia. With thank you so much, for your contribution and for your effort. All right, so perhaps without further ado, maybe we can start our discussion lah. All right,
Okay.
so okay, so I'm sure that many of our audience are not eagerly waiting about our discussion for today, which is ADHD and what it is exactly and what are the symptoms. So I would like to actually start by asking this question. The first question: what is the difference between being a pediatrician for a regular child and a child with hidden disabilities, such as ADHD, autism, or dyslexia? What are the differences actually? So perhaps you can actually share with us on this.
Okay, I think there's no differences when we are taking when we see in the patient then the regular child and the special kids need child. So basically, usually when children came to us in the pediatric clinic for the vaccination, like at 2 months, 3 months, and etc. up to 1 year, 6 months, we will see also the developmental milestone of the babies. But somehow when we can detect the abnormality in the any different milestone, then from there we can detect, and then we take the further history, and also we do the several investigation whether patient has any developmental delay, global developmental delay, we call it as GDD, whether the patient has any autism spectrum disorder, whether they have any isolated speech delay, or whether that the patient has any ADHD. That is out. There's no difference, but we just see everything as the usual lah.
I see. So, do you drill down? Because I believe that most of the hidden disabilities have almost similar diagnosis or symptoms.
Yeah,
For example,
sometimes we see that sometimes it's a bit difficult, it's a bit challenging for the pediatrician, because sometimes the autism spectrum disorder sometimes overlap with the ADHD. But there is some criteria that we need to do the fulfill criteria based on the DSM-5 criteria. Because the autism also has the DSM-5 criteria checklist, for the ADHD also have the checklist for DSM criteria. So
I see.
for the ADHD itself, we have like rating scale using the corner scales lah.
I see. So, based on the checklist, you
And
will.
based on everything, the test from the also we hearing test semua everything, we conclude, and then we that's why somehow the autism and ADHD take some time to get the diagnosis.
I see. Okay. So, okay, when you say that it usually takes time to actually do to come up with a diagnosis, how long does it usually take to actually, diagnose a person, whether or not that person has ADHD or autism or GDD or anything?
How long it takes? But like for the autism spectrum disorder, we do have the MCHEC, which is modified checklist of autism checklist. That one we take we screening by doing at 1 year 6 month old, and then the second time we doing at 3 years old. So
Okay.
basically, usually we diagnose by 3 years old for the autism spectrum disorder. But the
Okay.
ADHD, usually we can see it at the toddler age, like 3 to 5 years old. So
Okay.
but it's a bit difference lah.
I see. All right. So by the age of either 3 or 5 years old, then only we get to diagnose a person whether that person has ADHD or autism
Mm-hmm.
within the
Yes.
autism spectrum disorder lah. Okay.
But between to get the diagnosis, we already refer them to the special needs like the occupational therapies, for the cognitive behavior therapies, or any
Yeah.
speech therapies.
Okay, all right, okay,
Mm.
understand on that. So that is actually very interesting. Now we got to know, how a pediatrician diagnoses a person with
Mhm.
whether or not that person has ADHD or GDD or autism or any other hidden disabilities. But can you also, since that we've been talking about ADHD, perhaps you can actually
Mhm.
share with us what exactly is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD lah. So what are the causes of the ADHD? Whether dia daripada kita punya latar belakang atau like because of our
Okay.
genetics ke or anything. Perhaps you can actually share with us on
It's
that.
quite interesting to answer that, but I will share my slide about that.
Sure.
My slides lah. Wait lah.
Boleh, boleh, boleh. Can. So anyway, while we are waiting for Dr. Sarah to show her slides, perhaps if there's any of you who have any questions with regards to our topic for today, you can just put your question in the comments on our Facebook page, and we will try and answer them during the Q&A session. Okay, so yeah, just ask anything with regards to our topic for today. All right, so I
Okay.
think Dr.
Just
Sarah,
to answer Rashidi question, what is ADHD? ADHD means that it is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. It means that the children has high level impulsivity, hyperactivity, and inattention. It is considered most common neurodevelopmental disorder occurring in childhood, but the symptom of ADHD maybe begin in childhood, but if in undiagnosed, it can continue up to adult ADHD up to 50 to 65%. That's why if ADHD is left untreated in childhood, it can result in poor psychosocial outcomes. So epidemiological data suggests that ADHD usually affect 5% of children and up to 2.5% in adult population in worldwide. So you can see there are three types of ADHD, which is one is inattentive. The child is exhibit significant inattention across multiple domain with no significant hyperactivity or impulsivity. This is considered usually called as ADD, which is attention deficit disorder. The second type of ADHD means hyperactivity. The child exhibit adequate in the attention control. However, parents with presents with significant deficit with activity level or impulse control, so very hyperactive. But the third one, it could be combined. Combined is the combination between the inattentive and also hyperactivity. So usually, what the prevalence of the subtype of ADHD? Usually the common one is the combined one compared to the other subtypes lah.
okay,
And then to answer the causes of ADHD, sometimes scientists does not completely sure what cause ADHD. However, there is some risk factors that increase the susceptibility to get ADHD. First, genetics means that if the father have ADHD, probably to get the children have ADHD is high. like but unsure but usually high, and exposure to toxin during pregnancy, smoking cigarette, even for the mother or for the father also can get the children to get ADHD. Alcohol and drug use during pregnancy, exposure to the lead or other toxin at young age, or the baby was born with no low birth weight, or the baby was born with brain injury such as hypoxia, means that low oxygenation when during delivery.
I see, understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, since that, we mentioned about there are three types.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually interested to know about hyperactivity. As we know, most of the kids when
Mm-hmm.
when they are kids lah, because kids being kids, they can be very hyperactive. So in a way that they might be hyperactive, but they don't have the disorder. Can we actually, do? Can we
You know,
actually macam like understand whether or not they are they do have the disorder, or they're just being kids where they are hyperactive?
okay, to answer that question, if you think like as a mother, if you think your child something wrong, means anakku ni aktif sangat lah, panjat sana panjat sini, like climbing up there, climbing up to the ceiling. That is how.
On the
So
bed ke
basically
apa kan?
that
Yeah.
is dia punya milestone, but 1 year 2 years old is quite okay, but if it
Okay.
persistence until like 3 years old, until 4 years old, there is something wrong. Then that means
I
that
see.
they need to get the help from the any doctors or pediatrician or any psychiatrist to look for the what is the cause of the hyperactivity.
I see. All right. So, yeah, I mean, the viewers, the audience, I think this is something that is very interesting.
Mm,
Perhaps if any one of you out there who thinks that, perhaps your kids or anyone who is hyperactive, even though that he or she is already 3 or 4 years old, that is something that we need to look into as well, because being hyperactive doesn't mean that that kid has a disorder, but also perhaps that we need to monitor and take care of especially monitor the kids whether or not
mm.
they need to seek help, or not help, like in a way seek um, get help or assistance from the pediatrician. So yeah, that is very interesting. So perhaps doctor, you can continue.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
For ADHD, usually you could see like it more common in males than in females. Like autism, you can see more common in males, like three times compared to the male atau compared to the female. In ADHD also is could also like that, and the rate between the male and female is 2 in 1.
I
So
see.
that's why you can see more children in males that have this deficit lah.
I see. Okay, understand. All right. Sometimes, even I myself, I wonder when I was a kid whether I was hyperactive or not, and
You should ask your mother about that when you can
yeah,
take the
because
checklist, that the sign and symptom of ADHD, like inattention, like
yeah,
hyperactivity, that I list down in my
yeah.
slides.
Yep, yep. Because I understand that there is also adult ADHD,
Yes.
which we will cover the topic. Perhaps in the future we'll talk about adult ADHD. But right now let's talk about the introduction, or what ADHD is all about and the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so perhaps if I can continue with the next question, Dr.
Okay,
Sarah.
can? Yes, can?
Okay, great. So, in your experience in managing children with ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
what and how is ADHD affecting the daily routine and life of these people?
So when they like sign and symptom, like I said, that the children, you could have also often make mistake in schoolwork, often have trouble keeping attention in their daily activities, often doesn't seem to listen when we spoke directly to them. and then often does not follow through the instruction and fail to finish. So when this happen, it can help somehow. In the school, they are difficult to remain seated in the class, difficult to complete the work in the class in a timely fashion. Usually like the normal children can complete the task in 30 minutes. But in the ADHD or like dyslexia, they need to take like longer time to complete the task, like maybe need to 1 hour to 2 hours to complete the task. For the hyperactivity, they cannot they always wandering in the class. They always wandering. One day they always get up from the seat and then go to kacau the friends, so they have trouble. They also consider like nakal lah, naughty. So somehow they also often talk excessively, talking like people say lah, when we want to talk during the adult, macam orang tu nak cakap, they like to interrupt what we're talking about. That is considered
Yes,
impulsivity juga.
yes,
So
yes.
you can see the symptom affect a child at home. Difficulty follow the morning routines, have increased in frequency to argue with the parents and siblings, have difficult to complete the daily chores, and have messy, disorganized room. The school also have the difficulty remaining seated in the class, difficulty organizing materials, selalu barang hilang dalam dia punya pencil box. In the social also, they have difficulty in regulating behaviour on the playground. Their difficulty nak waiting turn nak main. Dia macam
I
nak play,
see.
they want to go straight away like that.
I see. Okay. So these people, I mean the kids with
Mm-hmm.
ADHD lah, will they be included in normal groups in class at school lah, ataupun
Yes.
do they need to
Uh,
be in special education?
it depends on the parents lah, basically. If you think your child cannot sit, your child means that he doesn't have any improvement in the normal school, it can go to the PPKI. But if you think your child need got improvement in the normal school, just go to the normal school. But maybe they need to one session. Maybe like they need extra tuition, like to get their attention lah. Somehow we also as a parent, we cannot teach our children that really nak bagi one session, because somehow we also like nak marah, nak scold our children if they don't want to follow. Why like like myself, I always like scold my special kids, Imran, why you cannot follow me, why? He always said, Mama, my brain cannot function properly, Mama. That is how they answer us. So macam we like so somehow we need like, okay, I think I need some good tuition to monitor him. So
Yeah.
because as the parents also cannot tak sabar lah, means cannot be patient with
Faham.
our children.
Yeah. So I understand it's actually the key is actually patience lah. The patience is the key lah to ensure that because we understand that the attention is
Very
they in a way they're lacking
very
attention.
limited.
Yes,
Yeah.
very limited. So we need to have someone, perhaps someone who can actually teach them patiently, because we know they are the ones who can actually handle these kids lah. Okay, so talk about your son, Imran. Just to let everyone know, our audience, Dr. Sarah is a mother of a child named Imran lah, who has ADHD and also dyslexia. So perhaps, Dr. Sarah, if you don't mind, maybe you can share with us your experience in bringing up your son. How did you actually first find out about it, and how have you managed the situation?
Okay, basically Imran is my third out of four lah. I have 11 years old girl, 9 years old boy, Asri, and third one is Imran, now is 8 years old boy, and the last one is 1 year 6 months. So for Imran, because he was born when I'm doing my master in pediatrics. When I'm doing master as become a pediatrician, I'm doing my master. So I think a bit lost like that. At that time, maybe I noticed that he has some sort of isolated speech delay around 2 years old, he cannot combine the two words. Usually normal milestone by 2 years old, the children should combine two words like mama want, mama susu, like that. But by 2 years old, he cannot combine. He only have 10 meaningful speech. That's why at that time, by 3 years old, he also cannot combine two words. So at that time, I need some specialty to help me. So I go to the hearing assessment, go to the speech therapist, and from there I get guidance from them, and then try to teach my son. By 4 years old, he can talk smoothly. Can basically he was normal, look like normal. But 6 year old, he still cannot do the normal homeworks. So usually homeworks kan, kalau boleh baca ABC tu macam senang. Macam ABC pun dia tak boleh nak follow ABCDE tu. We already teach, but he cannot. So I tell my husband that Imran cannot go to school like Chinese school, because the first and second go to Chinese school.
I see.
Even though I am not the Chinese medium speech, tak boleh cakap Chinese, but my husband want to send our children to Chinese school. So first and second go to Chinese school. So the third one go to Chinese school last year. It
Okay.
happened during Chinese school. I got the report from the mother's WhatsApp. Because they said, hey, we got one boy lah, always being scolded by the teacher. So memang every day, Imran always being scolded by the teacher. So from that, I said, no, I cannot put my son in that medium already.
The
Because
situation lah.
so memang it's very difficult for me that my son always being scolded by the teacher. I know my son is special. So
Yeah.
that's why I bring my son to the dyslexia screening test in Bandar Titiwangsa, and go
Okay.
to psychologist in Sumanjaya Medical Center. From that, I got the diagnosis. I show to my husband, this is the test, because my husband doesn't believe me for that our son has ADHD. So when
Okay.
I put the test, baru dia percaya, okay dah, baru we register everything last year lah.
Okay.
Register.
Understand.
Ah.
Right. Yeah, I believe that it's really hard to actually take in, like, especially when when you think in the first place that your child is just like any other child, normal and everything. But yeah, I do understand that. Even though that I don't have kids yet, but I do understand how it feels like. But yeah, also macam Dr. cakap sendiri kan, Dr. Sarah, that although it's also
Means like I want to say that somehow your partners is in denial, but
yes.
we need to prove them that our son is not a normal child. So baru dia percaya.
Any other
That's why parents ada in denial state, ada macam tak percaya. So kita kena tunjuk baru dia orang faham lah.
Betul. I understand that. All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for sharing. For sharing your thoughts and also experiences and about your son, Imran, who was actually diagnosed with ADHD and also dyslexia. Okay, so perhaps, Doctor, we have questions actually from the audience.
Got any question lah?
got questions actually.
Wow.
This is actually what happens during our talk, where we also allow our audience to actually ask questions. If they have any questions, they can actually ask in the comment section on our Facebook page. So we did actually receive some questions. So perhaps we can start with the first question.
Okay, question where?
Okay, so first question is actually from Aline. Will the same treatment butterfly effect be given to the whole family or just for the special child? Okay, so this is actually question for Malaysia Airports lah. So I will
For
ask.
Malaysia Airports lah.
Okay. All right. So the butterfly effect is actually not catered to passengers with autism only. It's actually catered to passengers with hidden disabilities as a whole. It's more of the neurodevelopmental disorders, for example, like autism, of course, and then ADHD, GDD, SPD, dyslexia,
Or
and
intellectual disabilities that
yes,
have
correct.
any disability, learning difficulties lah.
Yes, yes, and we do provide the facility at our KL International Airport, KLIA and also KLIA 2, where they can actually get the facilities, for example, such as a cam room, and then sensory walls, and they also get primary or what do you call this? Priority lanes at our checkpoints. For example, like if you want to go through, for example, at the immigration or customs checkpoints, you don't have to queue with other passengers. You can just cut the queue, and there are actually some designated counters for these passengers, special guests. All you need to do is just register via our Facebook page. Sorry, not Facebook page, Malaysia Airports website, www.malaysiaairports.com.my, and go to our go to the butterfly effect page, and you can actually register 3 days prior to your flight. And the other thing that you need to do is to ensure that you have an OKU card or a letter from the doctor saying, mentioning the status of the hidden disability. Okay, so for more information, you can just go to our website, and you can get all the information there. All right, so that's actually the answer for the first question. Hope it helps. So let's go with the second question. So the second question is from Izati Muhammad. There are many instances where active or naughty children are simply labeled as being hyperactive. How do we identify if they are just active or are indeed suffering from ADHD? So perhaps, Doctor, you can answer the question.
I think I have got answered the question just now that usually like naughty children or like to jump, like to climb stair, everything. Basically we can see up to 2 or 3 years old, but if they more active more than 3 years old, we should consider there is something wrong with the children. You should seek the treatment from the pediatrician or from the psychiatrist lah to get the diagnosis. So
Okay.
we cannot label whether this patient has hyperactive lah. But kalau macam if like say if like that, we cannot say like that. We just need the opinion from the expertise lah basically. That is
Understand.
how.
Okay, so Izati, I hope the answer, I hope it answered your question. All right, so next let's go with the third question. Okay, so the third question is from Nisa Marcila. Hi, I have a question to ask. Is ADHD common in Malaysia, and if yes, how severe is the situation? I actually would like to know that as well. How is it common in Malaysia?
For this research study in Malaysia, so far there's no prevalence, but I have the prevalence overall for the worldwide. I will share the slide for you lah.
Sure, sure, sure. That would be great.
Nah.
Okay.
Okay, you can see the global prevalence of childhood ADHD based on the retrospective done in 2017, where you can see that the overall that the highest is at the USA, whereby can I show you? Whereby the study show that the prevalence rate in Norway, Germany, Spain has been estimated to be 1.9, 1.8, and 5.4%, respectively lah. This one is done, the study, epidemiological study done found across high, upper, middle, and lower middle income countries. So you can see the high is at in USA. The lowest one is in the aslinya dekat Iraq, 0.1%.
I see. Okay.
For
Okay.
the adult, I to show the adult ADHD, it's quite the same. Adult ADHD, whereby we can see the highest is at the Northern Ireland, but the lowest one is at the Iraq also, 0.6, and in Romania, 0.6%.
Okay. Aged 18 to 44 years old with
This
ADHD.
one, this one retrospectively when they got the prevalence adult, they got the study based on total 26,000 people lah, the
Oh, that's
ADHD. So they will
Okay.
dapat overall, then they do the study lah.
Okay,
So the
understand.
prevalence of ADHD is varies with age. Kalau macam in toddler age, like 3 to 5 years old, the dominant subtype is usually is hyperactive impulse ADHD. But
Okay,
when it going to the school age, it more in attention age lah, in attention punya subtype. But
I
when go
see.
to the 19 years old, like going to adult, more likely
Okay.
they memang attentive ADHD, inattentiveness subtype.
Okay, all right, understand on that. Okay, thank you so much. I think maybe we have a few more questions to actually answer. So let's go. Okay, since that we still have time. All right. So the next question is: do children grow out of or be cured of ADHD, Dr. Sarah?
If we grow out or be cured, if go to the cognitive behavior therapy or go to the occupational therapy, inshallah will be cured. It's not because you'll be less compared
I
to
see.
not getting treatment at all. If you're not getting
Oh,
treatment at all, it consider can become adult ADHD and it have a lot of psychosocial impact. Like that, like the patient will have the patient of ADHD, the children ADHD will outgrow and then like to use the drug abuse. That is the how the psychosocial impact lah in their life.
I
Okay.
see. Okay. All right. Okay. That is actually quite interesting. Actually, I got to know, and I believe that the audience got to know about this as well. So, it can be treated, and perhaps, inshallah, it can also be cured. Okay, thank you for the question. Do we have any other question? Okay, so no more question. I think that's just it. Okay, so all right. So
Alhamdulillah.
thank you.
I hope
Okay.
everybody got any information or more understanding about the ADHD. Same like awareness of autism, also have awareness of ADHD lah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's actually because we actually want to be inclusivity in terms of this, not just focused on one disability, but also other types of hidden disability as well. So, yeah. So I thank you so much, Dr. Sarah, and all
Thank you,
our audience for
Rashidi.
the questions. Okay, so unfortunately, this is actually the only time that we have for today. So if you have any further questions with regards to our topic for today, please feel free to visit our Facebook page at Malaysia Airports and leave us a comment so we can get back to you with an answer. All right, so thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon again. And for all our audience out there, stay tuned for the next topic. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, be responsible but social butterfly, and adhere to all safety measures. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sarah.
Thank you, Rashidi, and thank you, Malaysia Airport, for inviting me to give the lecture during afternoon. Hopefully, everybody got the information, inshallah. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.